What is up, guys? Welcome back to another exciting episode of 3 and Out. Now, today we got a lot of stuff to cover, and we are going to just dive right into it with the spanking of the San Diego Chargers. I'm sorry, the LA Chargers. I still don't like this move. The Patriots really
got waxed.
No. Listen to me. We did not get waxed. Nobody got
Yes,
waxed.
you did.
Do you want to know what happened? Here's what happened. What happened is the refs gave Tom Brady the game the way that they always do. And I'm sorry, I just need to go off and rant for a second here because Tom Brady always gets special privileges. Tom Brady always gets every single call. And on that field, I was
41-28.
disgusted. I was disgusted on that field. Do you know how many calls Phillip Rivers got? Phillip Rivers didn't get any goddamn calls. That's how many calls Phillip Rivers got. You know when Phillip Rivers started getting calls? Phillip Rivers started getting calls when the score was 41-14, and they've already lost the game. That's when Phillip Rivers got a call. And you know what he did? He turned around and scored 2 touchdowns unanswered.
How can you complain about calls when the game's already over?
The game wasn't over.
It's over. The reason why he gets 2 touchdowns at that point.
No, I'm complaining about the calls that he didn't get. Do you know how many calls Phillip Rivers didn't get when it was still a game? He didn't get a single call when it was still a game. He started getting calls once the game was over. Once there was no way that they were coming back, the refs finally opened their eyes a little bit, looked at the game, saw what was happening out there, and started saying, "Oh yeah, you know what? That's a little bad." Phillip Rivers was getting hit below the knees all day. He couldn't get a single call.
So you're complaining about like a quarter of football?
No, not at all. Not at all. It was a game up until the half. It was a game up until the half.
Until the half?
It was a game up until the half. It wasn't even close.
It was 35-7 at halftime.
Yeah, okay, that's still a game.
That is not a
35-7. If they had started giving him calls at halftime, I'd have been okay with it. You know when they started giving him calls? When there was 8 minutes left in the fourth, and he was trying to make a comeback. That's when they were like, all right. You know what? I don't even think Phillip Rivers can come back from this. We'll start giving him some calls here to appease him. And you know what? At the end of the game, Phillip Rivers looks at the ref and goes, "Oh, now that's a flag? That's a flag now? It hasn't been a flag all damn day. Now you're going to give me my 15 yards?" He didn't even want it. He said, "Screw you." Phillip Rivers said, "Screw you, those refs." And you know what, refs? I say screw you, too. You always give Tom Brady everything. Tom Brady always doesn't win. Just once I'd like to see Tom Brady lose. Just once! 8 straight years! 8 straight years! The Patriots have gone to the AFC Championship game! Can we please just stop? Deflategate, Spygate, Watergate, all the damn gates! Tom Brady's not that great! The refs need to stop!
Does that excuse the 41 points of defense?
The refs need to stop! Yes, it does! It does excuse it! Because you know what? The defense was penalized when they should have been penalized! You know what? I didn't see any offensive pass interference. I just shoved you! I'll shove you again! It happened all night!
You made me look up the penalty stat. They only had... Oh my gosh. It's not even... What are you talking about? They had 5 for 33. That's what they had. The Patriots had 9 penalties for 75 yards. Where are the...
Alright, and you know when all those penalties came? 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter! That's when all the penalties came!
You still won the penalty difference, though.
All the penalties came when a game wasn't a game. Tom Brady was getting everything. Tom Brady always gets everything. My point is...
That doesn't negate the lack of sacks, the lack of pressure, the cold weather. Actually, Phillip Rivers did pretty good. Not gonna lie, he did good.
Phillip Rivers is great. Phillip Rivers was on fire out there. He played his heart out. Phillip Rivers was amazing.
You do get some like garbage
330 yards, 3 TDs. No garbage time. There's no garbage time in a playoff game. There's no such thing as garbage time in a playoff game. In a playoff game, there is no garbage time.
Melvin Gordon irrelevant.
Hey, Melvin Gordon, he scored a touchdown.
He was irrelevant.
Let's not hate on Melvin Gordon. He scored a touchdown.
What, like a 1-yarder? I didn't even see.
Hey, my boy Gatesy came in. He was big. He got a nice touchdown.
The garbage time touchdown when the game's over.
It was not. There's no garbage time in a playoff game.
The game was over.
There's no such thing as garbage time in a playoff game.
You mentioning Phillip Rivers going off and everything, because they were. I was listening to the game on the radio on my way back from work, and they were just talking about how much they appreciate him and his tenacity at all points during the game. Like they're saying the game's over. He didn't get a call he wanted, and he was going off like he was crazy.
He was fired up the whole game. He was ready to make a comeback.
Yeah, I don't think that comeback was happening with 8 minutes left in the fourth, or as you say, when the calls started going your way.
If the rest of the team would have been there like Phillip Rivers was, if the rest of the team had showed any fire, the comeback would have been real because they would have started getting plays. You know what? The comeback would have been real until they got to 35 points and started giving Tom Brady the win again. Because, God forbid, any team other than Tom Brady's Patriots goes to the championship game. You're going to tell me that for 8 straight years they were really that good? Because I'm going to tell you they weren't.
Well, I'm gonna tell
They
you what.
get the calls all the time, and you know what? This is another one of those times. All right, we need to move on. We need to move on because I'm going to rant about the Patriots all day long. Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, much respect for you guys. You are competitors. You are winners. But you know what? You do have the refs on your side. You do have the refs in your pocket. I don't blame you personally. I blame the owner.
Y'all just mad you got killed. But anyway, moving on to the other AFC game. Yeah, Kansas City absolutely destroying Indianapolis. I thought that game was
an upset.
Way closer.
I thought that game was going to be way different. That was an upset. The Colts should have won that one.
Not the way they played, but
the Colts should have won that one.
I expected them to win that one. I expected the defense to play a little bit better.
No-name defense has been stepping up recently. Healthy Andrew Luck. I always love healthy Andrew Luck. I got to give credit to Mahomes, though. Mahomes in his first playoff game. Mahomes in his first... Listen, I'm going to pronounce it how I'm going to pronounce it. Mahomes...
You sound like Hispanic.
Whatever. Mahomes in his first playoff game...
Speak Spanish.
He did very good is the point. Even though he didn't really do very good, he kept his composure.
It was the Chiefs' defense that one game. I'm not
even
the
running backs. They rushed a lot of touchdowns in. They did pretty well scoring.
Yeah, but Damian Williams had 120.
The defense did win the game.
Yeah, 13 points.
But Mahomes didn't lose the game. I was a little iffy on Mahomes. I thought Mahomes might, be a little worried, be a little flustered in his first playoff game. Yeah. Going up against a hot Colts defense, I honestly expected Mahomes to throw 3 picks in that game. I was
too worried about those no-names.
I thought 3 picks were going to get thrown in that game. It's his first playoff game. The pressure's there. He needs to win this game, and he does. He goes out there, and the defense steps it up, and the defense wins this game, and Mahomes doesn't lose the game, though.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to throw 3 picks. He didn't throw any picks.
No, he played pretty decently, but I will got to give all credit to that defense because I don't think anybody saw that coming. Everybody saw the defense as a weak point, basically all parts of it, except for Justin Houston, and he was still dominant. Had 2 sacks.
He was dominant
on Sunday.
He was dominant.
Or Saturday.
Don't forget D Ford. Ford had a big sack there too. Very clutch.
The pressure made the difference. The defense came out, made plays, and it's going to be Chiefs and Patriots. Sadly,
Chiefs and Patriots are going to be playing in this championship game now.
There.
I'm conflicted. Mm-hmm. I am really, really sick and tired of the Patriots always winning everything. I am really, really sick and tired of it. And they just got the game against my team, and I'm really sick of it. But I'm a Chargers fan, and I'm a Chargers fan first, and I hate the Chiefs. I can't stand the Chiefs. I can't stand them. I don't want them to win. I don't want the Patriots to win. I want the NFC to win. If I could have 2 teams from the NFC go to the Super Bowl, I would be doing that.
I'll take it.
I don't know. My heart wants neither one of those teams to win. Honestly,
you don't really have a choice. I mean,
you know what?
One of them has to.
No, I think I do have a choice. Here's my choice. This is what I choose to happen. I choose Enes Kanter to go blow up the stadium at the game this weekend because he's a terrorist. And when he blows it up, they'll have to let the Chargers go to the Super Bowl.
I feel like that's probably not okay to say.
They'll have to let the Chargers go to the Super Bowl.
Why would they have to let the Chargers? Why wouldn't they just play?
All right, the Chargers-Colts play.
And they would play the playing game.
Right? Yes, they would play a playing game, and then the Chargers would beat the Colts because Andrew Luck is like a dog with his tail between his legs, and Phillip Rivers is all fired up.
Where's the game? Where would the game be? It would be in Indy.
It would be in San Diego.
Oh yeah.
It would be in San Diego. San Diego's the 5. Yeah, it would be in San Diego.
In Indy.
Well, it would actually be in LA, but
right.
For argument's sake, it would be in San Diego.
Nice weather, right? I would assume.
Beautiful weather.
I haven't looked at the weather.
Phillip Rivers loves the weather. Well, it wouldn't be this weekend. It would be the weekend of the Pro Bowl. They'd have to play the end game because
is the Pro Bowl back before the Super Bowl?
It is.
Oh, okay, good. Now it's kind of stupid when they moved it after.
Yes.
And I think they're going back AFC, NFC again.
Yes.
Because the picking teams is kind of dumb. Not that anybody cares about the Pro Bowl
dumb.
Anyway, but all good. Moving on to the NFC.
NFC had some interesting games.
They did.
They were a lot closer. No, there was no smacking going on in the NFC.
There was still some smacking. I think that Dallas Rams score looks a little bit...
The Rams bent the Cowgirls over, all right? Yes, it happened.
They bent them over.
The Rams
that score
bent
looks a
the Cowgirls over and rammed them all night long, okay?
They really did,
We know what happened.
You have C.J. Anderson and Todd Gurley both going for over 100 yards. Like C.J. Anderson, the former Panther cast-off, because for whatever reason they could not find a role with him here in Charlotte. But, no, the run game was dominant. If the Rams are going to be able to come out like that with the 2-headed running attack, and everybody knows their passing game is still a threat.
It's the most rushing yards for the Rams. Rams most rushing yards in a playoff game.
273.
In history. 273
team yards.
Yes, and that is really between Anderson and Gurley, both posting up over 100-yard days. Nobody was stopping the run game.
Not at all.
Nobody was stopping the Rams.
A little bit embarrassing for that Cowboys defense because I think everybody expected a lot more because they were.
Everybody expected a lot. Everybody expected a lot more.
Vander Esch and Jalen Smith, that linebacking core.
They didn't do anything. They didn't step up at all.
Irrelevant. A little bit embarrassing.
It's a lot bit embarrassing. That does, however, go with the trivia question from last week, though, guys. Last week we asked you which player had the most rushing yards in a single divisional round game. And the answer to that trivia question is none other than former LA Ram against the Cowboys, Eric Dickerson, when he went off for 243 yards. That was a great game. The Rams' total rush offense today, or this past weekend, did topple that, though.
Yeah, so big game for both Jared Goff and Sean McVay.
It was a huge game.
First playoff win.
It was a huge game.
Makes up for makes you seem a little bit more legitimate when you win in the playoffs when it actually matters.
When you can win when it matters, that's what matters. You gotta win when it matters.
Rams were all over the place. They stopped Zeke. They put the game on Dak, and Dak couldn't win. Not that his numbers look bad. Dak's numbers looked fine. But you didn't win the game. That's what matters.
Win the game.
That score at the end of the game, whoever got the W.
He didn't win the game.
This is definitely my Super Bowl pick right now, though.
The Rams? The Rams are your Super Bowl pick?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You know what? I'm going to just tell you right now, my Super Bowl pick, as much as I hate it, the Patriots are going to beat the Chiefs. As much as I hate to see Tom Brady get another victory and Bill Belichick get another victory, they're going to go to the Super Bowl. But I do think they are going to lose it this year to the Rams. I think the Rams got this. I think the Rams are my team. The Rams are the only team left that I don't mind. So, you know what? Go Rams.
I think I'm cool with every team but the Patriots.
I don't mind the Saints that much,
as a Ravens fan from years back, the Lee Evans and Billy Cundiff. I will never forget that.
Honestly, it would be kind of funny to see the Saints win in Atlanta.
That would.
That would be like a giant FU to the Falcons.
Oh, I'm sure they would love it. Not that there would be too many Falcons fans there anyway.
There wouldn't, but still, the banners and everything, the Saints championship hanging off like at the end of the game. Atlanta, yeah, the Falcons fans wouldn't love that. I think it'd be hilarious, but the Falcons fans wouldn't love that. We'd also have all the local people here from Charlotte. All the Panthers fans would be whining about it quite a bit. So I think it'd be funny to see the Saints win. I don't really mind the Saints. I don't hate either team in the NFC. I think I prefer the Rams because I like Todd Gurley. I think he's a beast. He's my guy. Speaking of the Saints, they pulled back a pretty big comeback.
They did.
Biggest comeback in franchise history in the postseason. They came back from 14 points. And they beat the Eagles 20-14. So, fly Eagles fly, more like die Eagles die. They are done. They are out. They are eliminated.
No, they played well in Marcus Lattimore, their shutdown corner.
They played well.
Arguably one of the best corners in the game. Or he is.
They played a great game. He is one of the best corners in the game. He's
2 picks.
Hey, they played great. It was a great game.
I came in, spread around the offense. Alvin Kamara had over 100 yards of total offense himself.
Total offense,
70-some yards rushing, 35 yards receiving.
Michael Thomas with a huge day, 171, 12 grabs and a TD. He had a huge day. He was absolutely killing it.
But I know what we have to talk about is the Alshon Jeffrey drop.
All right, so Alshon Jeffrey drops a ball, and it goes through his hands and into the hands of Saints defender.
Marshawn Lattimore.
So, here's the thing. Alshon Jeffrey lost that game. But it's a team thing. Yes, that play ended the game. And that play came at a crucial moment. And you know what, though? Alshon Jeffrey, if you look at it, that was his third dropped pass of the entire season.
Yeah.
His third dropped pass of the entire season. Everybody's human. Nobody's perfect. Everybody misses. Now, he missed in a crucial time, but he's also made huge catches in crucial times. He's made game-winning grabs before.
You'll only be remembered for those mistakes.
You're remembered for the mistakes.
Nobody remembers Billy Cundiff except for his miss.
He missed it. Look.
I don't know what he did good.
Alshon Jeffrey
could have had a great year that year.
Got out ahead of it. He took credit for the loss. He got out and said, you know what, guys, I'm sorry. I lost this football game. I don't think it accurately represents him, though. I don't think that drop and that loss, is it on him? Yes. I don't think it represents him. I think he's a better player than that, and I expect him to have another good year next year. I expect him to bounce back and be just fine.
Well, yeah, number one target on that team. He should have a good year.
Whoa. Zach Ertz. Don't discredit Zach Ertz.
I'm not discrediting Zach Ertz.
Zach Ertz is huge.
Receiver. He is. Zach Ertz is one of the best tight ends in the game, probably.
The best tight end. I would say Zach Ertz is the best tight end in the game.
Travis Kelce is the best.
Travis Kelce can get out.
And Travis Kelce's more entertaining, too.
Get out with your Kansas City crap. Nobody wants to hear it.
Yet?
No, I haven't.
Oh, yeah, you don't
I haven't seen his commercial.
It's a good commercial.
I haven't seen
it's a little bit corny, but no, Travis Kelce's the best tight end. Zach Ertz is good. But Alshon Jeffrey is the number one wide receiver, since I'll clarify for you if that makes you feel any better.
Makes me feel a lot better.
He's the number one wide receiver for that team, so he should put up numbers, barring
He should put up numbers. He'll be fine, though. I don't think that it's going to affect his game mentally. I think next year when they're in the playoffs, look for him to make big catches and not miss. I don't think that this is an accurate representation of the player he is. I don't think he lacks any clutch ability. I don't think that he, messes up in the big situations. I think he's a good player. I like him.
No, and you're right. It's
he's
not all on him.
It's not an accurate representation. Everybody looks at that drop and is like, "Oh, how could you drop that?" Well, he dropped it because he caught every other pass that came his way this whole season. That's how he dropped it.
I mean, you're right. It's not all on him though. They only have 49 yards rushing.
It's not. It comes down to a lot of stuff.
That. I mean, you need the defense to come in.
Speaking of 49 yards rushing, Philly's running back situation. Going into this offseason, they're going to have an opportunity to improve, and they're going to have to go big here. So this is gonna kind of, well, you know what? We'll give our predictions. We'll give our predictions for the championship round. I've already stated I think Patriots-Rams are going to be in the Super Bowl, so I'll let you guys determine. The Patriots are going to beat the Chiefs, and the Rams are going to beat the Saints. That's going to be my call, my official call.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, I have the Rams winning the Super Bowl, so obviously they're winning this game. And, I'm going to go opposite of you, actually. You
think Mahomes is going to do it?
Yeah.
You think Mahomes is going to... You're going to say Mahomes is going to overthrow Brady and the Belichick
it's the time to do
cheat
it.
Nation?
It's the time to do it. They're good, even without Kareem Hunt, who, by the way, saw an article that the Bears are thinking about adding him to their running back.
I did. He might not be blackballed.
That would be interesting.
It would be interesting to see him come back from the video.
Especially considering they already have Jordan Howard and Tariq Cohen.
Yeah. I don't understand it. I don't understand it at all.
It seems a little bit unnecessary, but they can probably get him for the cheap, too.
They could probably get him for whatever they want to pay him, seeing as how he's been blackballed.
Yeah. But, no, I do have the Chiefs coming through and pulling the upset over the Patriots.
All right, Chiefs over the Patriots. Patriots over the Chiefs. That's our confrontation. I'm going to win.
Yeah,
because Tom Brady and Bill Belichick never lose.
They've lost plenty.
They don't lose.
They lose occasionally.
The refs don't allow it.
That wasn't a ref game.
Whatever you say.
You guys won the penalty yards.
Whatever you say.
Fewer penalties and fewer yards.
Whatever you say. He was at work. He didn't watch the game. He didn't see what we all saw. All of you who watched the game know what happened. You all know what happened.
So what you're saying, the Patriots should have had like 150 penalty yards or something like that?
Something like that, yeah. Pretty close. Maybe more, 180. 180 might be a little bit more reasonable.
More than double it up.
Okay. Well, they got away with a lot of 15-yarders, so yeah. We'll see. I mean,
I think your bias is clouding your judgment.
My bias is not clouding anything. But it's time. It's time now for the debate of the day. You want me to do it again?
I'm feeling the sound effects. We need one of those little like switchboards that they have for radio where they play stuff like that. That make it sound a little bit better than your...
We'll get a switchboard.
Half-cocked efforts.
Whatever. Hopped up on the cold meds right now. Leave me alone. So, today's debate of the day, guys, is going to be an interesting one. We've got something, real treat for you guys. Nick Foles has kind of been like the topic of a lot of conversations. So, a lot of you guys may or may not know this. Nick Foles is a free agent. Possibly. There's an option. There's a $20 million option.
Team option.
For the team. So, Philly could keep him for $20 million, or they can let him walk and he'll be a free agent.
I think he can still opt out. He
can opt out for $2 million.
Yeah.
He has to return $2 million of his signing bonus in order to opt out. So if he returns $2 million, he can test the waters himself, go to free agency. Now, he's a Super Bowl MVP.
Yes.
He took the team to the playoffs. Nobody has more wins in December, January, and February than Nick Foles. He's got the highest winning percentage in those 3 months. Absolutely great quarterback. Steps up when it matters. Very, very clutch. Philly also has Carson Wentz. Another very, very talented young man. Very talented quarterback. And
they got a lot invested in him.
They got a lot invested in him. His first round pick. And he's the most important part, though, is he's still on his rookie deal.
Yeah.
So he's cheap. They're not paying for him. He's very, very minimalistically affecting their books here. So the question is, should Philly keep Nick Foles and Carson Wentz? Or should they allow Nick Foles to go be a free agent, not re-sign him, and make Carson Wentz the future? What do you do here? Do you let Foles come back after winning Super Bowl MVP last year, taking them to the playoffs again this year, getting them to the divisional round? Do you stick with Foles? Is Foles your guy? Or do you have to go with Carson Wentz?
Well, see, I do want to correct your initial statement there because I'm not of the position that you keep both. I don't think you can keep both.
Right. Well, no, you either keep Foles, trade Wentz, or you keep Wentz and release Foles.
Which I think I got to go with the first one. You keep Foles.
You keep Foles.
Keep Foles. Bye Carson.
Keep Foles. Bye Carson.
He's hurt all the time.
He's injury prone.
It matters.
He's injury prone.
So when next year comes around and there are 9-10 games of the season, he gets hurt again. There's no Nick Foles there to help.
Well, what do you do? That's what you get another. All right, so
you know how hard it is to find a backup.
So here's the situation. Now we just discussed this. The run game of Philadelphia is absolutely lacking. It's absolutely terrible. If you retain Nick Foles, if you keep Nick Foles on the books this year, your odds of signing a really big running back go to the floor.
Le'Veon Bell.
Le'Veon Bell. That is the guy we're talking about here. Le'Veon Bell is a free agent.
So we're just making this up. There's no insight on him even considering Philly. Just hypothetical.
Le'Veon Bell is a free agent this year. If you keep Foles, you don't have the money to get him. Even if you couldn't get Le'Veon Bell, Mark Ingram, free agent, another big one. Odds are the Saints probably aren't going to re-sign him now that they have Kamara really handling most of the business here. Very, very good. Ingram is still very, very talented. Even if you can't get Le'Veon, you need some money to give Mark Ingram. You got to up your rush game. If you don't up your rush game, yeah, Nick Foles might take you back to the playoffs, but he's not going to get you big wins. You know what?
When is Carson winning big games? He's not playing,
You got to keep Carson.
Legitimately not playing.
You got to keep Carson. Listen,
I don't think it matters. You still get a young quarterback with Nick Foles.
You got to build the super team.
But then you work out the contract.
You got to build the super team. There are enough quarterbacks on the free agent list that you could go ahead and sign somebody. You got Teddy Bridgewater. I know that he had that big injury, but he could come back. He could bounce back. How about Fitzmagic? You hear Fitzmagic? He's not that injury prone.
Nobody's taking Fitzmagic.
He's not that injury prone. You get Fitzmagic, you pair him with Le'Veon Bell, and if you get Le'Veon Bell, you're likely to get AB from the Steelers in a trade because AB wants to stay with Le'Veon.
Yeah, but then you got to give stuff up. But here's my thing. You can trade Carson Wentz, and being that he is still... Nobody's saying Carson Wentz is a bad QB. But he's hurt all the time, and obviously Nick Foles has done quite well for himself. He lost like a game or two this year. I think only won that playoff game, right?
The playoff game was his first loss.
This is his only loss. 5-1, I think, on the season, including playoffs. That's one loss. Everybody still loves Carson Wentz. Nothing against him, but you can trade him. You can get a lot of value back for him, and you can still build a team on the cheap for a bunch of rookies, a bunch of young guys, higher draft picks, and build your team around Nick Foles that way. It's a unique situation because most teams really aren't like that, where they have two quarterbacks that will be highly sought after. They can go out there and get something for them.
You're not wrong.
So I say Foles for that reason, just because he's a proven commodity, still hasn't hit 30 years old yet.
You're not wrong. Not many teams are in this kind of unique situation where you've got a Super Bowl MVP and a great young guy on a rookie deal. Both very, very talented young men, both very, very talented quarterbacks. Not many teams are in a situation to have two superstars like that. But we take it. Look at what the Rams are doing. The Rams have Jared Goff. And Jared Goff, I'm not saying he's a bad quarterback. He's not a bad quarterback. He's a very good quarterback. He's very similar to Carson Wentz as a quarterback. And we look at what the Rams did. The Rams went out and built a super team because they had a quarterback on his rookie deal. You build that super team, and you think they're going to win the Super Bowl this year. You're telling me that the super team is going to win the Super Bowl. Why were they able to do all that? Because they had the financial flexibility thanks to the rookie deal of a quarterback. So, Carson Wentz, you keep him. You let him be your quarterback. You go get somebody who's not very injury prone to be the backup. So, if and when he does go down, you still have somebody there. And then you go out and you build the super team. There are a lot of really good free agents.
You have a proven quarterback,
There are a lot of really good free agents out there, both sides of the ball. They can improve the defense drastically. They can improve the offense drastically. Le'Veon Bell is out there. You can go and Mark Ingram if you don't get Bell. Then you got Ezekiel Ansah. You got DeMarcus Lawrence, both free agents on the D side. And Ndamukong Suh is going to be a free agent this year. That's going to be huge. There is a lot of good guys. The Honey Badger's a free agent this year. Go get the Honey Badger. I love the Honey Badger.
No, it's Nick Foles' team.
C.J. Mosley's a free agent.
Yeah, but
he's probably not leaving the Ravens. But you know what?
Well, I don't know.
C.J. Mosley, he could leave him. He could leave.
With their cap situation, hopefully
you
they're
never
able to
know.
get rid of Flacco.
He could leave though. They might not be able to keep him. So my thing, go build yourself a super team like the Rams did, because it's going to work, and the Rams are going to win a Super Bowl building a super team.
See, I just feel like it's a different situation, though, than the Rams, because the Rams were coming in, they had no quarterback. So, yeah, they drafted a guy like Goff, and they're expecting to go from there. The Eagles are in a situation where you have two, and one is a Super Bowl MVP. And not like he was bad. It's not like the rest of the team had to carry him through that. He played great on that run. And he played pretty solid in the regular season. He kind of struggled in the playoffs for the most part.
He did.
He threw 2 picks last week, but I'm not going to put the second one on him because we talked about that.
Should have lost the first game in the playoffs too. He got lucky that there was a missed kick.
He had a chance to win the second one though.
He didn't look good in this playoff situation. He didn't look good. And
I still think he looked better than Carson Wentz when Carson Wentz was coming back. And you got to consider injury. He had a back injury.
You got to consider that.
You can't walk without your spine.
I'm not saying you don't have to consider that. I'm saying that there are options.
This kid is hurt every single year.
You can go get an option. Even if you have to, you can draft a quarterback.
But the thing
you want to do that? Draft another young quarterback if you worry about it.
You don't want to sit there and be expecting to rely on your backup coming in and having to play games. And with Carson Wentz, you know that's what's going to happen.
You don't know anything.
Yes, you do.
He had an injury.
He's had 2. He's had 2 where he's missed a few points in the game.
Let's go buy him an offensive line like Brady's, where he'll never be touched ever again.
There's
guys out there to buy right now. It's a good free agent class.
Brady's never hurt, not because his offensive line is good. He has a benefit of the refs, obviously, because you touch Brady. It's
now he's got the refs. But
well, everybody knows that.
When we were ranting about the Chargers, he didn't have the refs.
It's not that other quarterbacks don't get calls. It's that Brady gets every call. That's my complaint. Different than what you were going after. But no, it's not necessarily even the offensive line, because they have had offensive line issues during Brady's tenure there, especially in kind of recent years. They've had some problems. Carson Wentz is just fragile.
Carson Wentz?
He's fragile. He broke his back, essentially.
I'm not saying Carson Wentz is not fragile.
You can't play with the broken back. He will get hurt again, guaranteed, and the Eagles will be in a position where they look stupid because they picked the wrong QB.
No.
Because they'll go...
No.
Imagine if they
build a super team.
Imagine if they're in the same situation next year. It still does. You have a bad QB.
Let Antonio Brown or Le'Veon Bell throw the ball. They'll be fine. We've seen them do it in Pittsburgh. I know they can do it. Build a super team.
Do you really want to deal with those egos over there?
Always build a super team. They've already got egos out in filthy. It's filthy. Everybody has an ego there.
Not nearly the same as AB and Le'Veon Bell.
Look, nobody's ego is as big as AB and Le'Veon Bell, all right? But you know what?
I ain't seen
sometimes you gotta go.
Before.
You gotta risk it. Carson Wentz, that's the way you go. Nicky Foles, you're a hell of a player. You'll get a great deal in free agency. You deserve a great deal in free agency. It's in Philly's best interest to let you go, keep Carson, and go ahead and build a super team.
I say hasta luego, Carson.
Build a super team.
Yeah, go somewhere else. Trade him to a quarterback-needy team. Stock up on draft picks, and you can still build with a lot of young talent as well.
Build a super team.
Sustainable for a while.
They need to win now. They need to be in win now mode, because the other teams in the division are going to be winning later on. They've already started the collection of nice young players. The Eagles need to win now.
I'm trying to figure out what teams you're talking about. The Redskins don't have a collection of nice young
players. Know who I'm talking about. I'm talking about Saquads.
That's one guy.
That's all you need.
They don't even want Odell anymore. Like, they want to say goodbye to him.
Well,
no, they need to get a quarterback. They get a quarterback.
OBJ's a head case, all right? He might be worse than AB and LeVay. All right? Doesn't matter.
I don't know. I feel like AB is a bit more of a crybaby than OBJ. OBJ, he's annoying.
Yeah, but I really like his Pepsi commercials. So I'm on AB's side. AB is a beautiful Pepsi commercial you got.
I'm Team Coke. So
Team Coke. Yeah. Get out of here, Mountain Dew.
Team Coke.
Wow, that was a drug reference. Okay. Hey, on-air drug reference.
I've said nothing. We don't do that here. But no, you gotta go. You gotta say goodbye to Carson.
Let us know what you think.
As tough as it is.
Philly, let us know what you think. You sticking with Carson, or you taking Nicky Foles? Which one do you want to do? You know what's right. You know what's good for you. You know what you have to do. You have to build a super team. They win Super Bowls.
You know the guy who won you a Super Bowl already. Remember that parade? Y'all don't have too many parades there.
Moving on. We got some very, very interesting news happening here, still kind of playing out. The Knicks center, Enes Kanter, has been accused of terrorism.
I think it's Enes.
Enes Kanter. Who cares, Kanter?
You may have to bleep out the other part.
No, his name is Enes Kanter. His name is Enes Kanter, and he has been accused of being a Turkish terrorist by the Turkish dictator that they have running that place over there. What's your take on this? What are your thoughts?
Well, it's all perspective. If obviously he's not going to call himself a dictator. I don't think he would call himself a dictator, but at the same time, I would have a really, really hard time believing Kanter's a terrorist. I don't know where you would find the time to do that as an NBA player, or as just a professional athlete in general. You figure your whole entire life, hours of the day is dedicated to working out, working on your craft. Where are you going to have time to be a terrorist?
You have time in the surprise meetings that you go to after you eat 30 White Castle burgers.
There you go.
Call that a practice. You eat too many Castle burgers, and I don't think maybe there's a story behind that. Maybe he didn't actually eat that many White Castle burgers. Maybe I find it funny how he eats too many White Castle burgers, misses a practice, and then days later he's a terrorist.
A little coincidental.
Well, a little too coincidental for me. I think he went on down to Pennsylvania, where former Turkish nationalist was found, and they're exchanging messages, and he's a terrorist. He's terrifying. He's a terrifying terrorist.
It just smells of a dictator being mad that a political
that's what I think
big time
it is
athlete is connected to a political rival of his.
If you read some of the reports that we're seeing, it does look like it is more of a dictator being mad that somebody's calling him a dictator.
Yes.
He doesn't want to be compared to Adolf, but he's acting like Adolf. So, pick your battles here, bud.
No, but you definitely got to be careful if you're Kanter. Obviously,
you have to be careful if you're
Kanter. The London trip.
We wish him the best of luck. I don't want him getting any type of negativity.
Are you a Knicks fan, being from New York?
I'm a huge Knicks fan, being from New York. I'm a huge Knicks fan, yes.
Yeah, I know we don't talk NBA that much. I didn't know you were that big of a Knicks fan.
We don't talk NBA that much. I'm a Knicks fan, huge Knicks fan. Have a bunch of Knicks jerseys hanging up in my closet. I love the Knicks. Enes Kanter's not one of those Knicks jerseys, but
oh, you got to get one now.
I will. No, most definitely. It's gonna instead of Kanter, it's just gonna be his number, and on the back, it's gonna say terrorist. It's the kind of jersey I want. But no, I don't think he is. It's like you said. He's an NBA player. He's devoted a lot of time, and you know what? It's not like he's just got here either. He's been in the league for quite some time. He's been in the league for some time now.
Been in the league for a while.
You don't have time to be a terrorist.
Moved to the States in 2009, 10 years ago.
You do not have time to plan acts of terror being a professional athlete. He's a professional athlete. And he's not a bad professional athlete either.
No, he's solid.
He's a solid player.
He's averaging a double-double
He's averaging a double-double, yes. 14 points, 11 boards.
He did it last year, too.
He is a solid player.
No, it's just way too much attention around him for that to even be possible. So, clearly, all jokes aside, we are completely dismissing that claim that he's a terrorist.
Yes, no. Enes Kanter, in all seriousness, is not a terrorist. If he is a terrorist, he's the most genius type of terrorist there is, because I think that there's a 0% chance of him being a terrorist, so he's very sneaky. But he's not a terrorist, and I really just hope that everybody can drop the whole terror thing on the media. I hope that everything gets back to the way it is, and I hope that Enes continue looking out for your safety. Stay safe. Don't leave the country. He was just put on the Interpol list.
Really?
Turkey put him on the watch list. They put out the red warning on him.
They want him to be extradited.
But they just put him on the Interpol list. So now Interpol agents are supposed to report if they see him.
Wow.
They're supposed to give the sighting to the local authorities for them to go detain him and then extradite. And about the only place that he's going to be safe from extradition is right here at home. So,
yeah.
Enes, don't leave the country. Stay. You're a citizen. You're a permanent resident of the United States. We're going to miss you. We're going to miss you in the London game, but stay safe. Safety first. And, don't let this affect you. Don't let this get into your head. You're not a terrorist. New York knows you're not a terrorist, and that's all you need to care about. You New York fans, we got your back. We know that this is just some stupid dictator being a stupid dictator.
All right, so now moving on to your favorite sport.
My favorite sport.
You got the MLB Hall of Fame.
Love the Major League Baseball.
That's coming up. Your votes are coming in. Ballots are being released.
Yeah, so
found a little the 22nd Hall of Fame tracker on there. Yeah.
The 22nd of January, we will know who is going to be in the Hall of Fame, and we will know who is not going to be in the Hall of Fame. So this is really the only time that we can go out there. Next week, we're going to go ahead and cover the full Hall of Fame coverage. But this week, we wanted to just give you guys our quick predictions of who we think is going to get in and who we think is going to get snubbed but should get in.
So who you got going in?
Well, this year I got a lot of guys going in, actually. Normally I wouldn't have a lot of guys going into the Hall of Fame. It is, it's the Hall of Fame. We want to keep it to only the greatest players allowed in. We don't want to let just any, Bo Schmo into the Hall of Fame. It has to be only the best of the best. But I do believe we have a very good class this year, and I do believe we are going to see, a lot of guys get added to the Hall of Fame. We had a lot of guys that have been on the ballot a few years already, so, they've served their time. They're now in a position where they're going to start getting votes. They weren't, first ballot guys, but they were definitely Hall of Famers. And we've also got some other guys who it's their first ballot and they're clear-cut, ready to go Hall of Famers. So, my predictions for the Hall of Fame. First off, Mariano Rivera. He's the greatest closer to ever play the game of baseball. Mariano Rivera is going to be in the Hall of Fame. Guaranteed. He's a Yankee. A lot of people.
Oh, yeah, right there. That's
a lot of people wanted to see him and Jeter go together.
Guaranteed there.
But Rivera, Hall of Famer, no question about it. He's going to be.
Yeah, this Hall of Fame tracker I'm looking at has them. All the ballots that have been released so far, 100% of them have him on.
You know what? Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised at all if Mariano Rivera was a unanimous induction. I really wouldn't. He's the best closer in baseball. He's never been speculated about drugs. He's never been speculated or linked to anything negative. He is unarguably the greatest closer of all time. It won't surprise me when he's unanimous. So Mariano Rivera is going to get in. Then obviously you got guys like Edgar Martinez, best DH to ever play the game. Edgar Martinez didn't really play any position. He was just a DH, but he was really, really good at it, and he was a great hitter. So I think Edgar Martinez is going to get in this year. I think you got Curt Schilling, Roger Clemens, Barry Bonds, and Larry Walker.
Curt Schilling's getting in?
I do. I think.
I did read some. He's at 73.9% right now. About half the ballots have been put out there to the public.
Right.
So he'll probably get it. But I do remember reading something saying that they were a little bit worried about him falling short of it.
So Schilling, Clemens, Bonds, Walker are a very, very interesting class.
The steroid era.
That's the steroid era. These are the guys that have been linked to steroids. These are the guys that have been linked to cheating. These are the guys that you should be concerned about. If a lot of people feel very strongly about this, about steroids and the Baseball Hall of Fame, and if you did steroids, you shouldn't be allowed in, and if you did this, you shouldn't be allowed in, but if you did that, you should be allowed in. And I totally understand and I totally respect that we have to only let the best players in. Now, that said, there was no written rule against certain performance-enhancing drugs until the year 2003. When Barry Bonds was doping up with his steroids, it was not against the rules. I don't think that you should be able to hold that against him.
No, I'm of the same belief there,
I still don't respect him as the all-time home run king.
Fair.
I don't respect him as the all-time home run king. I don't acknowledge him as that. But he's an amazing player, and I don't think that you can hold against him the steroids if you're looking at the Hall of Fame. It was the steroid era. A lot of people were on steroids. So many people were on steroids. A guy who I'm a huge fan of, Mike Piazza, was linked to steroids multiple times. He's in the Hall of Fame. Now, they never proved it. He was linked to it. It was speculated. But I think it's finally time that we get off our high horse and we recognize that era of the game. Steroids, there was a steroid era. Everybody was using it. All the big players were using it. And I don't think it's fair to hold it against one player, to not let him in the Hall of Fame because of it. So I think that this year, Schilling, Clemens, and Bonds will all get in. Next year, I think that Larry Walker will get in. I think Larry Walker's going to fall a bit short this year. Larry Walker's a little bit more questionable than that, though, because not only did he have the steroids, he also played in Colorado. And playing in Colorado, your numbers are inflated. Your numbers are inflated. So, he's got that going against him. But I think he gets in next year. Another guy, Manny Ramirez, has been, he was suspended quite a few times. Manny Ramirez, I feel a little bit differently about, because Manny Ramirez was suspended for it after it was against the rules. These other guys, they didn't, it was before it was written against the rules that we found out about it. But With Manny Ramirez, he broke the rules. He was suspended for it.
It's a completely different animal.
It's a completely different animal.
That way.
He's on the ballot. I expect him to retain enough votes to stay on the ballot because, if you lose, if you don't have at least, what is it, 10% of votes, 5% of votes, something like that, they take your name off. I think he'll get enough votes that his name will be up there next year. I'm not sure that he'll ever get in. I'm not sure that he won't. It depends on where the game goes. But Schilling, Clemens, Bonds, I say all three of them get in this year. I think that it's going to open up the floodgates for some of the other guys who are on performance-enhancing drugs. And I think that eventually A-Rod gets in. I think that A-Rod's going to get in. He's going to be good.
He's going to get in.
Everybody loves him. Everybody loves A-Rod.
He's repaired that image.
He's repaired his image. So A-Rod, though...
Dating J-Lo helps a lot.
Adding A-Rod, though, A-Rod, similar to Manny Ramirez. Same thing.
That's true.
So if A-Rod gets in, you got to let Manny in.
He has an argument.
You gotta let Manny in if you let A-Rod in. But... we don't have to worry about that for a few years. A-Rod's not eligible for the ballot yet, so we don't have to worry about that. Other than that, though, there's one more guy that I think is kind of there, kind of not there at the same time. It's Roy Halladay. Roy Halladay, amazing pitcher, probably the best pitcher of his day. I would argue that Roy Halladay was the best pitcher of his day. He was a workhorse.
Yeah.
He never gave you less than 8 innings. That guy was a true competitor, a true winner, but he didn't really do much. He has no postseason.
Yeah,
he has a little bit of postseason when he went to Philly, but you know what? He has no postseason when he went to the Blue Jays, and I don't know if he's going to be a first ballot guy. This is his first year on the ballot. I don't know if he's a first ballot Hall of Famer.
I do think he'll sneak in. However, I'm not a big baseball person, but I can say growing up, I knew who Roy Halladay was. That's how big he was. So for me, your name's that big, where non-baseball people are going in and they can recognize it just by seeing your name and they know who you are, who you played for.
Right.
I think that speaks to your accomplishments and shows that you did enough to get in to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. Like you said, one of the greatest of the generation.
One of the greatest.
I think you get in there.
He really was one of the greatest pitchers of our generation.
It's a team sport, not an individual thing. So
it
hurts.
It hurts that you don't have all that playoff stuff, but
that hurts. Lack of championships, lack of banners hanging up there.
But the Hall of Fame is supposed to just be about which individual player was noteworthy of the Hall. And you know what? I think Roy Halladay definitely was. I don't know necessarily that he's a first balloter. I do think he's going to get in. And I love Roy Halladay. I really do. I have a powder blue Toronto Roy Halladay jersey hanging up in my closet too because I love Roy Halladay. But I don't necessarily know that he's a first balloter. And you know what though? I definitely think he's a Hall of Famer. And I hope that he gets in. I really do. I hope he gets in. He deserves it.
From when I last saw it, he was looking pretty good.
He deserves it. He does. He deserves being in the Hall of Fame.
Pretty good shot at getting in this year. Last time I saw, I think he was at 94%, I believe. He was only behind Mariano Rivera.
That sounds right. That sounds accurate.
Out of the ballots that have been released so far.
It sounds right, and
I think it probably helps that you're dealing with a lot of guys from the steroid era now.
You are. So when you're a clean player,
go up a little bit higher for that reason.
He pitched in the steroid era too, and he's got all those guys on steroids out.
Yep.
And he did it without steroids.
Team player and still incredibly dominant. I do think he'll get in there.
I think Doc Halladay deserves to be in there. Most definitely. And, it would just, the only way that it could get better is if he was able to be here for his induction ceremony. So,
yeah.
But yes, Roy Halladay, Mariano Rivera, I think the steroid era, Bonds, Clemens, Schilling, I think they're all getting in. I think Larry Walker maybe next year. I think Larry Walker's going to fall a bit short. Is there anybody else you think is going to sneak in there? Is there anybody you think that should get in there?
I think you covered all the major names right there. Those are the big guys that people will be talking about, whether they think they should get in. Those guys that we'll be debating, really, whenever they do release who gets in on the 22nd. We'll talk about who doesn't get in.
Most definitely.
But I think you just about covered everybody there.
So a couple other first balloters, just to get it out there. Todd Helton and Andy Pettitte are also first-time candidates for the Hall of Fame. Now, I don't think either one of them will get in, but do you think eventually they do? Andy Pettitte might have been the most dominant postseason pitcher that we've ever seen.
I think Pettitte will eventually sneak in there.
And Todd Helton playing in Colorado, really, it hurt him too, but he was a great player.
Yeah.
Todd Helton, amazing numbers, and he was never linked to any type of negativity, no drugs, no drinking. Todd Helton was just always clean. He was never in the news for anything wrong.
No, I'm with you that eventually we'll get over this whole steroid era, so I think that'll kind of hurt Helton in a way, because I think people will ignore it for the most part and just look at raw numbers. And playing in Colorado doesn't really help his case.
It doesn't. It doesn't. No. Playing in Colorado, when you get into the Hall of Fame, and it's time for Hall of Fame votes and Hall of Fame numbers and all that kind of stuff, you really do. You get the Colorado cold shoulder. You do. Because it is just, and it's sad because, you know, they don't really control that at first. They get drafted to a team, they stay there. Todd Helton is a beautiful example of, you know, somebody that happened to him. I mean, you know, he was drafted by Colorado and he's played his entire Major League Baseball career in Colorado. He got drafted there, he stayed there. He's one of the few players to have played his entire career on the same one team.
Yeah, that's rare in any sport.
And it's not his fault that it was Colorado. Colorado drafted him. He stayed. He wanted to be a Colorado Rocky. I respect that. Now, if you look at his numbers, though, if you take a look at Todd Helton's numbers, they are up there with the rest of a lot of guys in the Hall of Fame. He's got amazing numbers just looking at it. He's got 369 career home runs. That's not a slouching number. He's got 1,406 career RBIs, a very good number. And his career batting average is 316. OBP 414, his slugging percentage is 539. He was a solid player. He was a solid player. Numbers. And I think that he deserves to get in. Eventually, I think Todd Helton deserves to get in. 2,500 hits is not easy to get.
No, not at all.
2,500 hits is not easy to get.
That's pretty nice career there.
2,500 hits is not easy to get. Todd Helton did it. So what if it was in Colorado? So what? That's it. Todd Helton deserves it. I don't think he's a first-timer, clearly, but I do think Todd Helton will get in eventually, and if he doesn't, I think it'll be a shame.
All right, now moving on to an interesting story that I just saw today in the NBA.
God. Oh, it's the NBA.
The NBA
What are they doing? What are you doing?
The NBA has decided to let their referees interact with fans on Twitter during games. Now, it won't be officials that are working. So officials that are not working that particular night will be interacting with fans about calls they didn't like, calls they agree with on Twitter.
Horrible idea, NBA. Horrible idea.
Quite stupid. One, you kind of have the brotherhood of the referee. You know, do you want them on there questioning each other when they make mistakes, calling out each other for mistakes
questioning
like that,
each other? And you know what? It happens. Missed calls happen. We're only human. The refs are only human. They're not going to get every single call right. You know what? Mistakes are made. Now, that being said, if you're a ref, how are you going to feel about having to call out another one of your refs?
Yep.
Because you know at some point you were in that position where you made a bad call. And if you're the ref that everybody's calling out because he made a bad call, it's like, hey, how come you don't talk about the 72,000 really close calls that I made that were right? That I got right. They're all bang, bang. You know, these plays all happen in milliseconds, and they all get called in milliseconds.
Well, yeah, it's always easier to go back and look at it in slow motion. You see it in football, too.
All the time.
The slow motion makes everything obvious.
Going frame by frame, you can see everything. But being out there,
you gotta make a
close,
call.
Personal, live time, you got to make a call. And then you got to trust your call, and that's the call. That's it.
Like, I would really hate that assignment if I was a ref. I would hate that. I would not want to argue with fans on Twitter. I would despise
that. I don't want to argue with Twitter. All right, so
you're probably not even allowed to argue with them. You have to be professional.
You're representing the referee league of the NBA. You're working. You got to be professional. You can't just call them out. And on top of that, not only are you going to have to deal with the hecklers that get the one bad call, because, you know, there's going to be a ref, he's going to make a bad call, and everybody's going to start going, hey, what? You guys are watching the same game I am. How come you don't make the call?
Yep.
And you know what? If you're one of these refs on Twitter that's supposed to react to that, how do you even react to that? You can't even react to that. But not only do you have to worry about those guys, you also have to worry about the other half of the people on Twitter that are just idiots and don't know the rules of basketball complaining.
Exactly. You get fans of teams that are just upset because they lost. Like in every sport, it happens. Calls that are obvious, you know, fans will argue the opposite no matter what, just because it's the call went against their team. Like Pete with the Chargers today.
No, that's totally different, and you know it. Totally different, and you know. Whenever there's a game with the Patriots involved, it's a totally different situation because you know that those refs are giving them the call. You know that those refs are giving them the call.
When you touch Tom Brady is when you get the call.
Listen to me.
Not the other quarterback.
The refs are in the Patriots' pockets, okay? This the one exception to this rule. If you're reffing a Patriots game, the Patriots won that game, right? All right. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the NBA here, and we're talking about how it's a very, very bad decision. It's a very, very bad call. I would absolutely hate to be that. I would hate to be in that situation if I was a ref. And if I was the refs union, I would step up and I would say, hey, we're not doing this because this is just dumb.
I'm really surprised they let that go through.
Yeah, I don't know why they let that go through.
I don't know why they seem so overly protective about other stuff and being such a brotherhood of referees that they would allow each other to be kind of put on blast like that all the time.
I don't understand it. If I was the refs, I would say, no, we're not doing this.
Dangerous by the NBA.
Very, very dangerous by the NBA. Very, very bad call in my opinion. I don't like it.
All right, now on to college football, where
oh man,
had a rough week.
Man, he had a very rough week. So for those of you who don't know what's going on in college football right now, Maryland is my it's Manny's team. He loves them. He loves Maryland more than he loves any sports franchise. Okay, and let me just tell you this: Maryland had a really rough week. They missed out on quite a few guys.
Had a rough season. They
missed out on quite a few big name guys that they thought were sure things. So. How does all this make you feel?
A little bit upset. It's all understandable to all the teams that we lost them to. We lost an offensive coordinator to Michigan. We lost a tight ends coach to Alabama. And more importantly, the name that everybody knows because it was a headline on ESPN when he decided. Jalen Hurts went to Oklahoma over Maryland. They play in Norman, not Oklahoma City, just to clarify.
Okay, see.
But I had really high expectations for Jalen Hurts coming to Maryland. Maryland's new head coach, Mike Locksley, was the offensive coordinator at Alabama for the past few seasons. And, so he kind of had that relationship with Hurts. He was there when he won Offensive Player of the Year, I think he did win Offensive Player of the Year as a freshman.
He won Offensive Player of the Year.
He was there when he got benched. He worked with him for 3 years. You have that tight-knit relationship. And it was even talked about that he was like a second father to Jalen. But can't blame him for choosing Oklahoma. You look at that team, they've produced the past two Heisman quarterbacks, who both were transfers, coincidentally. Baker Mayfield and Kyler Murray, both going to be first-round picks. I don't think Jalen Hurts has that kind of talent, but you can't blame him for going and choosing Oklahoma. Not at all. It's disappointing.
You can't blame him, but it does hurt. It hurts you and your soul. It doesn't hurt anybody else. It just hurts Maryland fans because they really wanted it.
It's been a rough year.
It's been a rough year, and it's not getting any better.
But I'm all on Team Piggy. Tyrell Pogrom, he's like a 5'9" quarterback from Maryland, but he's really athletic. He has like the most fun high school highlights to watch. So a quick shout out to Piggy. But other quarterbacks actually made their decisions as well this week, or within the past couple weeks. Justin Fields, a big-time transfer from Georgia, chose Ohio State. And that kind of had a trickle-down effect there because Dwayne Haskins' backup, Tate Martell, left Ohio State and is headed to Miami. Also, you have, after Jalen Hurts made the decision to go to Oklahoma, Austin Kendall, who is from where we're from, and down in Charlotte, North Carolina. He went to nearby Cuthbertson High School. He's headed to West Virginia to take over for another local guy, Will Grier. What the hell is that? What is that? Oh, you have your sound effects now. And on top of that, you have Brandon Wimbush, the former Notre Dame starter who got benched early in the season. He's headed to Central Florida to take over for Mackenzie Milton, who suffered that gruesome injury. And finally, you have Ben Hicks, who is SMU's all-time leading passer. He's following his coach to Arkansas, where he probably will win the starting job. This quarterback market has become basically a free agency of sorts. You have all these grad transfers and all these other regular transfers as well, who may or may not have to stay out of the year. Eventually, I think they're going to end up doing away with that rule. You saw Justin Fields is more than likely going to win his waiver at Ohio State because somebody said something racist to him at Georgia. Tate Martell hired a lawyer. He's all lawyered up, ready to go, ready to fight his case so he can play immediately for Miami, where I don't really know what his argument is going to be. But eventually they'll probably do away with this rule, let everybody transfer wherever they want without penalty.
As they should. This is a dumb rule. It needs to just be gone.
No, they let coaches go wherever they want.
It's a dumb rule.
Miami's new head coach, coincidentally, Manny Diaz, I think is his name. He was signed on to be the coach at Temple. He was ready to go. He was headed up to Temple and in Philly to be their head coach. Miami swooped in and offered him. he said, "See you later." He'd probably already been out recruiting for Temple too. So now Temple was left high and dry. I don't even know what they've done since there because I don't care about Temple football. Nobody really does.
How could you?
No.
How could you?
Yeah, no, they little smaller program. It's still D1, but they're a smaller program. But yeah, no, like the players should be able to decide wherever they want to go.
No, I agree. They need to do what's right for them. They need to go play where it's right for them. If they see it fit to move, they should be allowed to move. End of discussion. It's that simple.
Do you have our question of the day, our trivia question?
I do, folks. So, trivia question of the day. This time is going to be about the Kansas City Chiefs.
Ooh, fun stuff.
So, the last time the Kansas City Chiefs went to the championship game was in the year 1993. In that offseason, what are the two big players that helped them get that fantastic run and go to that championship game? What two big players did they make offseason trades for? That is our trivia question. We'll have the answer for you guys next week. You guys have been a great audience. We thank you all for listening this far, and we will catch back in with you guys next week.
Deuces.